And we're going to start with the minutes of the April 11th meeting. Does anybody have any corrections or?
I just have one correction where I stated that I was not recognized by the chair, Judge King of the Finance Subcommittee.
Any other additions or corrections? May I have a motion?
I move that we accept the minutes as corrected.
Thank you. Is there a Eric? Eric?
Second.
Okay. We'll start from the bottom. Bill?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Isabella?
Yes.
Jan? Jan?
She said
Jan.
yes.
She's muted.
Bob?
Yes.
Annabelle?
Yes,
Jenny?
Yes.
Nancy?
I cannot vote because I was in and out of the meeting last time, so.
Okay, so Nancy abstains.
I'll abstain, yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Eric made the motion. I assume he approves. Leslie?
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Take a look at the consent agenda. Does anybody want to comment, or do we have a motion on that?
Motion to approve.
I second it.
Okay, so Leslie has made a motion to accept the consent agenda. Annabelle has seconded it. Leslie?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes.
Annabelle?
Yes,
Bob?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Isabella?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved. There being no, is there any public comment? Then let's move ahead to the director's report.
Well, I think that
Okay,
Drew is
thank
there.
you. Whoop. Sorry. I thought Bob was speaking.
I don't, isn't Drew here? No.
No, sorry, Bob. Drew, actually, we'll need to postpone Drew's visit to perhaps
I'm
the
sorry.
next.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
My fault.
Thanks. Okay, so thank you. So I'll start with staffing. We're making some good progress in stabilizing. So over this past year, a lot of what's been happening has been this sort of whack-a-mole situation because we've had so much internal movement among our staffing, which is good. It means we're advancing people. People are being promoted from within. The good news is that we've hired a couple of folks, another internal candidate for our assistant head of children's at the main library. So now our children's team at the main library is whole and complete. And that person is Amanda Landry. She is internal. She was a 20-hour youth services specialist. She's doing a dual master's in library science and children's literature. She's pretty much completed the Library of Science portion of that master's and will be working hard to complete the children's literature part. So she's ready to hit the ground running, amazing ideas. So between her and Jillian Holmberg, who's our new head of children's, as you know, we have kind of a dream team down there of leadership. So it's exciting. The main library has already started to see big changes in terms of opening up programming. We saw a lot of what Jillian achieved at the branch libraries is starting to be planned and executed at the main library as well. So all of our programming, for example, is now in person and not hybrid anymore, which is good. And we're seeing a lot more activity in the library. Plus, she's already started to do partnerships. So Jillian's already hit the ground running with some exciting stuff. We are collecting applications for our head of technology librarian, who will be heading up technology with a patron-focused, user-focused perspective. So we're excited for that. And the assistant head of children's at the branch, who will carry on Jillian's tradition. So those are the positions that are posted. We also filled another position with an external candidate in our circulation department. And her name is Sarah Lindstrom, so you'll get to meet her soon. So staffing is, as I said, it's stabilizing. We're finally starting to get to a good place. You know, and as you all know, that was really started from with a sort of a rash of retirements, which happens sometimes when, you know, everyone loved working at the library for so long. So we had a lot of retirements all at once. So as far as COVID's concerned, you know, I don't have too much to report except for that we're dealing with it. It's we are still seeing some infections here and there among staff. The good news is that most people are boosted and fully vaccinated, which means if they're exposed, you know, we all remain careful, but they can come to work as long as they're not having any symptoms. Occasionally we do have a staff member out, and we manage, as we always have, carefully, and working with facilities, Jim's team, and with Alex as well, to make sure we're doing the right thing. Teen Room is going great. We are in the final stages. We're working with Creative Library Concepts designer to do final color selections and the look and feel, textures, fabrics, etc. So we should be making a good an order soon and getting that underway. We hope to have that completed certainly in time for the school year. As you all know, the solar panels are now generating, which is great. Dawn De La Santa, our head branch librarian, is going to be taking the lead on planning that celebration that we hope that we can invite everybody in the community to kind of an official ribbon cutting and celebrate that green initiative for the branch. The AV installation in the community room is nearing completion. I talked about that last time, so that's just about done. So we'll have a nice, robust system for our users in that room, as was the vision when we built the library. And then we'll start to think about our circulation desk as our interim project between the teen room, now that the structure's in place, and then next year, hopefully, our learning classroom. So we'll be able to tackle that circulation, ADA accessible circulation desk that we are excited to put into the main library. Pearl Street ramp is well underway, as anyone who's come to the library can see. We are still targeting a mid-August completion date for that. That'll be a real game changer for that side of the building. First of all, it will be accessible and welcoming. And I think it's going to really change the look and feel and of the approach, and really we hope to create a more welcoming environment for everyone. And then the roof project, Jim is still working up the documents for the bid to go out to bid. So it's not quite out to bid just yet, but I'll keep everybody posted on that. A few other highlights: our partnerships with the schools continue to grow. Working closely, I met today with the Assistant Superintendent for Community and Equity again. Our Beyond the Bell at FPL partnership is really looking to shape up beautifully, so that late bus will be coming to the library with kids on it. And we'll be having tons of offerings for them. So working closely with Tiffany, Lily, and Yemi Ajao and others to create those offerings, make sure we have great things for the kids to do, is really exciting. So yeah, that will be, I have a flyer almost finalized, and I'll share that with you probably next time. We're also talking with another organization that works out of the schools called Flyers by Night, and they do adult learning. And they're looking to work with us potentially to create more access for some of the programming that they do. That's a conversation that just got started and it's sort of in its infancy. So I'll keep you posted on that. So another partnership with the schools that I'm excited about there. New self-checks in our book locker. Biblioteca, our vendor, pushed that back to May, but it should be coming toward the end of this month. Fingers crossed. I think a lot of supply chain stuff is holding things up. Our tech migration at the main library is underway. The branch is just about complete. So all of our staff are now on the city system. So we're fully integrated and working in tandem with city technology to make sure everybody's supported and things are secure. And I think that, what else? Mark Contois's bench installation and dedication on the 7th. Hoping that I can get as many of you all to participate in that as are comfortable and want to do so. So if anybody would like to say a few words on Mark's behalf at that event, please let me know and I will be happy to put you on our program.
Oh, no, will he be here by any chance? Will he
Yes.
be here? Oh, he will be. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
So yeah, very excited. I haven't seen him since he left. So it
Yeah.
would be hard for me not to tackle him and make him stay. But, yeah, we miss him, definitely.
That's
So that should be a really lovely event. We'll have a reception out in the learning yard, or rather in the reading garden. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. If not, we'll move into the classroom room. Also, the heart sculpture is ready, or it's done. I haven't yet seen it in its final completed stage, but that's also going to be going out in the reading garden at the main library. So will be a nice kind of addition along with Mark's bench, and I think it's going to be kind of beautiful. So I'm excited to see that when it's all said and done. The other thing is the big staffing news, of course, is the assistant director, Deb, having gone off to be a director at Fitchburg, which I hope she's hit the ground running, doing well. We miss her. The job is posted, which is good because I've been sweating it out the past couple of weeks trying to get everything done. Thanks to Bhagia for a tremendous amount of support and everybody else. The staff is amazing. So we're going to start that search soon. As soon as the job is posted officially. I believe it has been approved, which is good. So we'll, I'll keep you all posted on that as well. And I think
Lena?
that's it. Yeah.
Lena, where are they posting it? Is it within Massachusetts or beyond?
Well, that's going to be up to up to me and likely a search committee that I put together. So certainly on the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners website, and I think that we want to do probably a far reach to see there's a lot of talent out there and a lot of opportunity to see what we can get. So yeah.
Could you share with us when you have a list of the places you reached out to when you do have that chance? I know you're busy.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Quick question. I thought we decided this on the last time, but on the Mark's bench scenario, do you remember what time we decided on? I know it's a Tuesday, but I don't remember what time we decided on.
Yeah, Tuesday evening, 5:30, I think is our start time. Hopefully folks are still at city and at work and they'll come by after that.
You got it.
Lena,
Yeah,
who's on the search committee for the assistant director?
I haven't quite decided that yet. I haven't put that together yet.
Okay, I'd like you to let me know, please.
Yes, of course, I will.
Oh, I have a question. Is it possible for one of the trustees to have an opportunity to either be on the search committee or have some input in some way?
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
everybody, but
Right.
certainly Ruth, but
Yep, we can talk about that process. In the past, typically we have involved the trustees at the later stages of the search. So yeah, absolutely willing to hear input and ideas about that.
great, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for Lena? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Lena, you'll let us know if you need assistance with the Mark celebration besides speakers.
Yes, I will. Thanks.
Okay. Next item is the fine-free initiative. We touched on this topic last meeting, and Deb gave a good overview of the reasons for abolishing fines. Lena has requested that we send a letter to the mayor. And so you have in your packet a draft of a letter. Would you please take a look at it and comment on it? Do you think is there anything that needs tweaking or changing?
Ruth, can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
Well, first of all, I'll just say I like the letter very much. I just wanted to check that there's a fourth page that just has like a paren C on it, and I didn't know if that was supposed to be have content in it or not.
Friends B.
Like beyond below where our names are listed and the link to npr.org. There's like
Okay,
a
there's,
mostly blank page.
yeah. There is an intro, which was what this letter is all about. Then there's the letter, the signatures, and then it should end with the source of the data on Chicago.
Okay, so it's
That's,
there's
yeah.
nothing that should be important on that page. All right.
yeah,
Thank you.
I don't know what that is, but I'll get
Okay.
rid of it. Thank you.
Thanks.
It could be embarrassing if it's left in. Does anybody have any questions or comments or?
Yeah, I do on the letter. I think we need a stronger bottom line on that letter. The bottom line is kind of loose. If you look at it again, please.
Jan, then what would you recommend?
I'm trying to pull it up on my phone right now. I'll send you a bottom line.
Well, it reads, we ask your support for ending library fines in Framingham.
Yeah, I think it can be stronger than that. I'll send you another bottom line.
Can you tell us it?
No, I don't have it right now.
Because then we'll have to vote on it again, won't we? Or
Yes.
no? Yeah.
Okay, wait, let's see if I can bring it up here. Wait a minute. Go to something else and I'll come back to it.
Okay, we will do that. Let's move ahead. Some people have requested that we meet in person, and Len and I thought it would be a good idea to consult with the trustees to see what their preference is. And of course, any decision that we make tonight is contingent upon the COVID situation not deteriorating between now and then. So what are your thoughts? Do you want to be in person or do you want to continue with our Zoom meetings?
Does the city have recommendations?
I have a thought. I don't know.
Yes.
I just interrupted someone. I don't know who it
No, it was
was.
me. No, it was me, yeah, Annabelle. I just wanted to know if the city had recommendations that they were making to other boards.
Lena, could you comment on that?
I don't believe that there is a specific recommendation from the mayor's office on meeting in person or not. I can double check to see that that's true. I think that most, I think most are meeting in person. So, but I would have to check. I don't quote me on that one. Let me just look into it and I can get back to you on that.
I just have one comment. The city council's meeting in person, I believe.
Yes.
I mean, I feel that, well, things deteriorate, that's one thing, but there's so many new trustees on the board. I've never met in person with Heather Woods. There's just something special about being in person if it's at all possible.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I just
Bob,
agree with my wife. And,
do you think the same way?
yeah, we do. We don't always agree, but I think very important, what happens sometimes after a meeting or before a meeting. Getting to know people, I think is really important. So, and COVID is still here with us, but people aren't getting as sick. They're, vaccines 2, 3, whatever, 4. And so I think at this point we can do that. I hope so.
Okay,
Do we have room for the public?
yes, I see Michael Cannon. Hello, Michael.
Good evening. It's wonderful to be with you,
In
and
that
I'm
room, I had the floor for a minute. I just want to know if we'd have
I
enough room.
apologize. I thought I was recognized. My apologies.
You
That's
were
okay.
recognized.
Yes,
If
go
you
ahead.
I was
Michael.
recognized. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be with you. And I'm hopeful that we'll be able to gather in person again soon. Because I get to tell, sometimes I tease my fellow counselors that I'm one of the few since we became a city that has actually attended a library trustees meeting in the trustees room. And I don't think a lot of us know how to get there.
It's a secret, Michael.
I don't know that I'd be able to find it again, but here I was able to pre-COVID. But as Bob said, there are those things, the relationships that develop, the side conversations before the meeting, after the meeting, new trustees getting active. There's so many good things that happen when we're able to gather in person. It kind of goes to the core of what a library is in a community. And I'm hopeful. We've started meeting in person, the city council, the school committee is meeting in person. Some of the subcommittees are meeting in person. Things are certainly headed in that direction. And I'm hopeful. I don't know the process, who makes that decision, if it's the trustees that vote on that, but I'm hopeful that you will decide to meet in person again. Obviously, if there are individual concerns about health and safety, do what's best for you and take those precautions that you believe are sound for you. But as stewards of an important asset in our community, I'm hopeful that you'll decide to meet together in person, and I'm hopeful that I'll be able to be in the room and listen soon. So thank you for the opportunity to speak on that, and thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you on both counts, Michael. There is the possibility too that if we meet in person, that we have a mask requirement. Should people have concerns.
It'll be in the Costin room.
Yes, right, Lena? Yeah, it would not be in the trustees room. The air circulation there is not suitable for the do not allow us to take the necessary precautions with a large group. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Hold on.
My hand is raised,
Wait,
actually.
Yeah, Leslie has her hand up.
Okay, I can't see everybody's hand, so thank you for letting me know. Go ahead, Leslie.
Yeah, would we be able to do like what the councilors do, like a hybrid version where the public can come in? Because I wonder how many people can fit into the room with us plus the public. That's just one
Of
of
course,
my
the
questions.
Costin room is large, and it's possible to have members of the public and to spread out at the same time. So
I'd
we
love
can
to
do
see a
that.
hybrid version of some sort. If we are there, but the public, I don't mind being there myself. with the public. That's what
Okay,
city council does.
why don't we first take a vote on what the trustees should do, and then we'll consider what to do with the public. How's that?
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, would somebody make a motion?
I move that the June meeting is in person and in the Costin room of the
Okay.
library.
Does anybody have any comments or additional discussion?
I second it.
Okay. Does anybody feel that we should amend that to include a mask requirement?
Yes, I do.
Okay, do you want to make a motion to amend?
I'll
it?
make a motion that masks are required at the trustees meeting in the Costin room.
Okay. Is there a second to the amendment?
I'll second that amendment.
Okay, so we vote first on the amendment and then on the main motion. So all those in favor of asking trustees to wear a mask, should we meet in the Costin room for the June meeting? will please say yes, and I'll read the names. Leslie,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Annabelle.
I abstain. I'm okay either way.
Okay, Bob,
No,
Jan,
Yes.
Isabella,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Okay, so if we decide to meet in person, we will be masked. Now we will now entertain the main motion, which is to meet in June in the Costin Room. And it would be masked. Okay, Leslie,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Annabelle,
Yes.
Bob,
yes,
Jan,
Yes.
Isabella,
Yes.
Heather.
Yes.
And Bill.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries and we will meet masked in the Costin Room. And it'll be the first time in over 2 years.
Are you
Pat.
voting, Ruth? You don't have to vote, Ruth?
As chair, I don't usually vote, although I am in favor of this motion,
Okay, thank
but
you.
it's not a
Will
vote.
this be our last meeting of the year, Ruth?
We met
Probably-
live last June.
What was that?
Last June, a year ago, we met, was the last time we met live.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's something we can decide in June. We can wait to see if there's anything that needs addressing over the summer. And if not, we can take the summer off, so to speak. Can we return to the fine-free initiative and the letter?
I was supposed to speak on the part of having the hybrid piece for the,
Oh,
like the council
right.
does, or I'd like to make a motion for that, please.
We had one hybrid meeting. We had two. And they're very difficult.
Oh.
I found that they're very difficult to run and difficult for participants, but I'd like to hear what others say. Eric?
So based on
if I-
equity, I feel that's one of the things, if we're moving towards equity and having participation with the community, the council does that, and so does the school committee. So I think as a elected body, we should maybe get some support as to how we can do a hybrid so the public can participate.
Okay, thank you. Eric?
Yeah, I would wanted to say that because I think what Leslie was getting at was not a hybrid meeting for us as the board, but hybrid in that we want to like have it accessible to the public to view.
Okay,
Is that correct, Leslie? Am I correct?
Yes,
on
so
that? Okay,
just
okay.
like the council does it and the school
Sure.
committee,
Okay.
they
Yeah,
get to, the
so,
public gets to participate as we move towards having things more equitable.
yeah.
Not
Okay.
us as the trustees, but as the public can come in and ask questions via hybrid.
Okay, I would be in favor of that.
Yeah, so
What
I'd
do
like
we
to make
s-
a motion for that.
okay, a motion has been made that the meeting be hybrid with the hybrid part pertaining to the public. And I would say, let's try it and see how it works.
Bill has his hand up. Ruth.
Whose hand is up?
Bill,
Bill.
for the two prior hybrid meetings, if you were at home trying to participate or listen, the sound was horrible.
Yeah,
And
well,
I'm not the only one that thinks that. So I think the sound system would have to somehow be improved.
Yeah.
I second the motion. It was miserable.
yes.
But
Is
there
there any way we
hasn't
can
been a
get
vote.
support, Lena? Like
What's the motion?
The motion is to
the
have
motion
the
is-
hybrid piece.
Have
for the
it
public.
hybrid for the public.
And if we can get some support, Lena, probably like the other boards, and see if we
Okay.
can do that.
Yeah, so I just want to interject super quick that we are working on outfitting the room with technology so that we can actually conduct meetings, hybrid successfully. So we've engaged Diversified, who's done the technology in the classroom, as well as the main library. And I'm working with Jamie from City IT for some support to make sure that we do it right. So soon, and it's not just for us, but for the entire community, because this has been even more, this has been we've had such a call for this, for this capability. And it only makes sense now for us as the public library to be offering that. So we're working on it. So so hopefully, and we have made a little bit of headway with rigging it such that it's a little bit better until we achieve that. So.
Great. So as we move towards equity, so I'd like to keep the motion on the table.
Could we, Leslie, how about if we say hybrid hybrid for the public as soon as the technology is in place?
Well, what if it takes a year? I would say I think we said we meet, that's our last meeting, so that's fine. But I said going forward, probably in the fall, we should have it so the public can participate.
Would that be reasonable? That we'll try for next month, and if not, for the fall?
I think we can do it. It may not be perfect, but we can definitely do it. And I think it'll be better.
Yeah. Until we get it better, yeah. Thanks.
So Leslie has moved that we make the meeting available for the public as a hybrid meeting, and we'll do it as soon as the technology is ready, hopefully next month, and if not, then by the fall. Is that okay?
I don't want it amended. I want it to be, we try it out, even if it's not the best in June, and then it will be better in the fall. So I want us to still do it in June as well.
Okay, that's fine. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Any questions?
Yeah, I think if we have the public and the technology isn't there, all we'll have is angry public. It's a tough issue, but maybe we could, I mean, the Costin room is pretty big. If we set aside certain seats that are 6 or 8 feet away from the rest of us, I don't know, maybe Lena, you could come up with some way of doing that, because to invite the public and then they can't hear and maybe they can't see, it's ridiculous.
Well, may I make a comment?
Sure.
I think the intent of this conversation all along has been that, yes, there will be some seating set aside for the public. So they could come, someone, maybe 10, a dozen, whatever, could come in person. I think we should go ahead and broadcast, or however we're streaming it. But I think we can just make a statement at the beginning that it might not possibly be perfect sound, but we're trying it out, and then in the fall it should be improved if there's any issues.
How does that sound? What does everybody think?
That's fine. That's realistic.
That's kind of the motion, really. Yeah. Do the best we can now and improve in the fall.
I just don't like anything that alienates the public.
That's why we have to have hybrid.
That's
the point of hybrid, right?
Wait a minute, one person at a time. One person at a time. Annabelle, you can finish, and then Leslie.
Okay, thank you. I just don't like, I don't want to alienate the public, and I'm done. Okay.
And how can I go?
Okay, Jan, then Bob.
I feel that what we've done through the pandemic to be cautious has been to protect our public, not to alienate them. And I go back to in-person meeting with a lot of caution, not alienation.
So Jan, bottom line, what do you feel about having it hybrid? I'm not clear what you mean.
I feel it's worth experimenting with, just as the other city councilors do. They bring in Zoom participation. I think we should be able to bring in Zoom participation from the public.
Well,
Okay, so
maybe
what-
we can talk to the council and how is there a way we can share? You can tell us how you did it, or you can tell your tech people can tell our tech people. I'm
Lana,
thinking.
what do
Michael.
you think?
Yeah, so I mean, we're kind of doing that. We actually, I reached out to Jamie Jamie and City IT to understand better, how we could achieve a model like what the council does, so that it's clear and audible and has good visuals. So we have, I think we have the capability to do it. We just have to, agree on the process. That's all. So we're working on that now.
No,
Mike?
You may also want to chat, if you haven't, Lena, with Ron Rigo in Media Services. I wasn't really a part of it. They've done a great job. IT's done a great job, but it's been a journey to get there, and it's still it's not perfect. But let me know if you run into any trouble with getting what you need. I don't expect you will, but if I can be of any assistance, I'm happy to be.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great idea. I'll talk to Ron as well.
Also,
I
I think
think-
the requirement for I apologize, just one more comment. I think some of the rules are changing for remote participation. I don't think that impacts your ability to have remote participation for the public, but I haven't looked at those details. But I know some of those things at the state level are changing in July. It's worth looking at that, as I'm sure you have, or I'm sure you will. Thanks so much.
Thank you. That's useful. I think the other factor is that the Costin room is a really big room with high ceilings, making the transmission of sound particularly challenging, as opposed to some of the other rooms where different committees meet. Okay, so we have a motion on the table that
My hand is raised.
go ahead, Leslie.
So this is in the spirit of advocacy for the whole of Framingham, so that people can participate however they choose to in a safe manner. We invite the community into all of our meetings and do the best we can. I like the disclaimer that Eric said we can do in the meantime for June, and then moving forward by fall, we'll be able to do this as a full team. If everyone from Framingham is able to join us. So thank you.
Okay, so returning to your motion, I believe you've made a motion that our June meeting, which will be in person for the trustees, will be remote for the public. And we will try it out in June and hope to perfect it by the fall. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Leslie moved, Jan seconded that we have a hybrid arrangement for the public. Bill,
Yes,
Heather,
Yes.
Isabella,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Annabelle,
no,
Jenny,
yes,
Nancy,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's 10-1. Okay, thank you. Moving on to the topic of the fines. Jan, did you come up with a,
Yeah, I have. You can do what you will, but I like this a little better. We ask your support in moving to a more positive program of managing our collection. I'll repeat it. We ask your support in moving to a more positive program of managing our collection.
okay, thank you. Any comments or suggestions?
Can I hear the original, please?
We asked your support for ending library fines in Framingham.
Okay.
Okay. Any comments, suggestions?
Oh,
Annabelle,
I like that. It comes right to the point.
which one do you like?
We ask your support for ending fines. I might not be saying it quite right, but that comes to the point.
Okay.
I'm
thank
trying
you.
to be more positive.
No, it's fine.
Any other comments?
Bill,
Bill,
I actually think, I like the shorter version too, because I actually think that for a library layperson, they might get confused as to what the word collections means. Could be money, could be books.
okay.
Mm.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments?
I have to agree with Annabelle and Bill. I think simpler is always sometimes better.
I'll go back to your original sentence. I'll go right back to it. I'm not going to fight for it.
Okay, it's just a few words. All right.
It is.
so-
Let's just go back to it.
Okay, well, thank you anyway for your thoughtful addition,
I was trying to be more positive. Yeah,
which is always good.
it is.
Would somebody make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the letter to send to the mayor to end library fines.
I second.
Okay, a motion has been made by Isabella and seconded by Leslie that we approve the letter regarding the ending of fines. I'll go through the names again. Leslie.
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Annabelle,
Yes,
Bob,
Yes,
Jan,
Yes,
Isabella,
Yes.
Heather, Bill.
Yes,
Okay, and as you saw, the letter also included the names of all 12 of us. Is everybody all right with that, with having their names on the letter? Are there any objections? Seeing none, we will send this letter to the mayor. Thank you very much. Is there, let's see, let's talk about some of the committee reports now. Leslie, would you like to speak on behalf of the advocacy committee?
Sure. Thank you very much, Ruth. The advocacy subcommittee met last Monday, and we finalized the letter for the council. And the task was each member would send it out to their city councilor, and as the chair, I would send it out to all the city councilors, which I know I did, and I'm sure the other members did the same. We also spoke a little bit about expanding the name for advocacy, but we'll do some more work on that in June. One of these things we spoke about was having the library. I spoke to Len about that in March. Bookmobile be at Yoga on the Commons to partner with Downtown Framingham Inc. from May to October, like once a month, and be there like after yoga class. A lot of students come, a lot of families come as an opportunity to have the library visible right after yoga classes right downtown. I bumped into Emily in my neighborhood last week. She was at a playground in the area where I lived, and we chatted about it a little bit. I did send an email and she asked me to CC her in regards to that. She lives across the street and she loves yoga herself, so she was saying it would be a great idea. So we're looking forward to partnering and just getting the schedule on with Lena. Another thing is just having more visibility as trustees. One of the other things we spoke about is concerts on the green, not a heavy lift. We're thinking once a month, so it's just June, July, and August. If we can have some sort of table, Jenny and I both already committed to do at least a minimum of 2 and have 2 trustees at the table with maybe some printed schedules of the library and maybe the bookmobile schedule on paper. We also suggested if we could get like a QR code as well, but Again,
was
with
that?
accessibility. Excuse
What
me?
was that again, Leslie?
A QR code so people can scan the events that the library has, and also had copy. Again, with accessibility in mind, we feel we need paper sometimes, and we also, if people want to use their phones. So that would be Concerts on the Green that starts in June. I know the bookmobile's there. We also thought about probably we can get a sign made and pointed, bookmobile in this direction, because one of the complaints I heard for Earth Days, many people couldn't see the bookmobile if they parked on the other side. I saw it because I parked on that side. So we could have like a fun sign saying, bookmobile this way. So we kind of directing people to the bookmobile, but then the trustees, the advocacy subcommittee will be willing to be at the tent. I know I can definitely do June and July. Just once in June, once in July, and once in August. And if there's a rain date, I guess we miss it, or however that works, and just follow the guidelines of Parks and Rec, whatever they recommend. If the concert is canceled, then we just won't be there. So that's something we're thinking about trying to do. I mean, if other trustees want to come in on it, that's fine. But I think our small group, I think we can figure it out with at least a minimum of 2 of us. So if somebody needs to, go grab something to eat, they're able to go, so it's not one person at the table. And we think it's a great idea of just being visible, more visible. We're thinking of having maybe some sort of name tag. I plan to meet with Elena and Ruth sometime next month, so we can talk more about just a name tag of some sort. And we'll only use it for library business, not if we just come to the concert and are walking around, if we're there for that purpose. So that way we're only using it for that purpose. So those are the 2 big things that came out of the meeting. We spent a lot of time chatting, and I really want to thank the subcommittee for working really hard together with me. I really appreciate the efforts they've been putting in.
Thank you. Leslie,
thank you.
has the letter gone out yet?
I sent out one. I also participated in the last FinCom 5. They had a meeting, and I went to the FinCon meeting, and I just spoke briefly, like for a minute. Maybe I can say quickly for the record what I said, but I can send a link to that meeting.
Do you want the trustees? Does the committee want the trustees to do anything? with
One of the
joint
things we had
letter?
discussed in the meeting, that it was the subcommittee's role to do that, so we could do that. And if people wanted to send out letters themselves, that they could. And that was something we kind of agreed on as a subcommittee, as a task that we would be taking care of. But I can state what I said at the FinCom subcommittee, and back there, I'll send you the link as well to add to the meeting. But I just said, very short, hi, good evening, councilors, the public. My name is Leslie White Harvey, Vice Chair of the Framingham Public Library Trustees. I'm here to ask for your support on our budget for the library. We sent a letter to all the councilors. I hope you had a chance to look at it. We are very proud of our offerings the library has, and I hope that you can support the library budget for 2023 and move it on from here to the entire council. And I said, have a good evening.
Thank you.
That's all I said at the meeting, and they were very responsive. So I hope to put into record the meeting. I can send that to back there to just have on file.
Thank you. Does
You're welcome.
anybody have any questions or comments? Annabelle?
Do we have to get that letter approved? Leslie, did you send it out to all the trustees, to the trustees?
Yeah, we actually did approve it, and we did approve it in our meeting. All we had to do was tweak it. That's what we did in the advocacy subcommittees, because we wanted to get it out.
No, I understand the subcommittee, but if it's going out from the library trustees, all of them shouldn't be approved.
Yes.
Well, I spoke to Jan, who was actually told me she's been 20 years on the council, on trustees, and she has never heard of that before. And she
I can't say that's 100% accurate. I just said I had never heard of it. So you have to be careful.
There was a draft, and Jan sent out the draft even before, and I really heard no talk about why wasn't it approved or anything. And
I think I brought it up at one of our meetings, Leslie.
Say it again?
I did bring it up at one of our meetings that the trustees should approve it.
And also, I remember Jan saying that it should be our role to do that as well. You know,
Oh, oh, no, I didn't say that, Leslie. I didn't say that.
Our very
Those are
first
not my
meeting.
words. I think
Okay.
maybe Eric could help us on governance with this. Eric, do you have any comments?
I don't want to get into anything here, but I know I've at least as far as I know, I've followed the rules. But thanks.
Eric, what's your take on letters that go out under the name of the trustees? Should they be approved by the trustees as a whole?
I don't actually have a take on that. I think we have once or twice, and that I recall, done that, but I don't know that it's required. It's certainly not in the bylaws.
But in terms
I
of
know
practice-
last year we put all the trustees' names on the letter. Have you?
That's
made
not what
sense?
happened this time, though. I just put the
Okay.
subcommittee on there. Thanks, Eric, for your feedback. I
Okay.
appreciate.
anytime a letter has the names of all the trustees on it, it should be approved by the trustees.
It was sent by the advocacy subcommittee, but Eric just stated that it's not something that happens. So I'm interested to know what's going on right now.
Even if it's just, if I can, Ruth, even if it's just a subcommittee, it's speaking for the whole library. So I would think it would have to be approved by the trustees.
But Eric just stated that he doesn't recall that. So what's going on? Could you explain why now it's kind of different because I did it? That's all. Just for the record, I just want to know because Eric just explained that he doesn't recall that happening or part of the bylaws, and here we are implying.
But I think
So
it's,
explain to me what's going on. Yeah.
okay, Bill, the lawyer, what's your take on this?
Well, obviously, if something has everyone's name on it, it has to get everyone's approval. If it just has the names of a subcommittee, I wouldn't have a
that's it.
problem if it was clear that they were speaking as a subcommittee and not
Yes, we were.
as the Board of Trustees.
Yes, we were speaking as a subcommittee, and that was something we discussed the very first meeting. And I don't know exactly how Jan's words were because it's been a while, but it was basically someone who's asking, it was our work and our task. So thank you for that answer, Chair William.
Annabelle,
No,
are
I'm
you,
saying, was it clear in the letter that it was from a subcommittee and not from the
Yes.
whole board?
Let's hear from the
excuse me, Michael, would you like to comment?
I thank you so much for the opportunity to participate in this conversation. What we do in the council, and I think it's good practice, just as someone said, if you're speaking on behalf of the body, I think it's polite and common courtesy to get a vote of the body to say, hey, this is what we're doing. I was confused with the letter. I did receive Leslie's email and I just had to go back and look at it. And it does say the Framingham Public Library Board of Trustees is asking for your support in this matter, which was fine, but usually letters like that come from the chair of the trustees or list everybody's name. So to me, it wasn't clear that it was on behalf of a subcommittee because the members of the subcommittee's names weren't, it was confusing to me. And I probably only noticed it because usually when something comes from the trustees of the library, it's, to a T, perfect, grammatically hushed tones and great process. So I was a little confused by it. I think a good practice if you decide to adopt it is if you're sending something on behalf of the trustees, I'd want to know if someone was using my name as rather than speaking for just themselves. So that's just a thought. Thank you again.
Thank you. So going forward, can we bring anything that goes out from the trustees to the trustees as a whole?
That's a good idea, Ruth. Should we make a motion and make it official, or how do you want to handle it?
I think it's a good idea too. I could make a motion. I don't mind making a motion, seeing I'm on that advocacy committee. Do you want me to make the motion?
Please.
if any correspondence is going out from a subcommittee of the Board of Trustees, I would want to recommend that the full board okay it.
Okay, is there a second?
I second the motion.
All right, so a motion has been made that if any letters go out from the trustees, that the trustees as a whole approve the letter. Let's start with Bill,
Yes,
Heather,
Yes.
Isabella,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Annabelle,
Yes,
Jenny,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes,
Stephen,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
Thank you all. Okay, well, we appreciate your effort and can we,
The letter was
should we-
written by the subcommittee, not just me. So just for the record, I did not write that letter alone.
okay,
record,
thank you.
so
Well,
just to
thank
let
you to the
everyone-
committee. Can we share the letter with the committee?
Yes.
Is it possible to screen share it?
No, but I'll email it out. Like usually, I'll email it out to everybody as soon as the meeting is done.
Yeah, but the problem is we
Yeah.
can't approve it without having a meeting because of the.
Oh, well,
open
next
meeting.
meeting, I guess we'll approve it. I'll send it out.
From a timing standpoint, Lena, is that going to be soon enough?
One of the things I had asked to was for a timeline. That was one of the things I'd asked for a timeline for the advocacy subcommittee, which I didn't have in terms of when the financial budget was going to be done.
So it's in progress. You know, it's going before the finance subcommittee. And so it's just in progress. And so I'm sorry, but my understanding is that this letter's already gone to the council. Is that correct? So I don't really see what we have to approve at this point.
Yeah, Jan sent out the draft first, and then I sent out the final draft. that we all
Jan
got.
sent a draft to her city councilor in her own district.
Okay,
Right.
all right. So
That
if
was-
the letter has gone out, why don't we say then that future letters will be approved by the committee? And Leslie, if you would just send the letter to the committee so that they know what,
Sure.
they're familiar with what has been
Okay.
distributed. How would
Sure.
that be?
Great.
You
Thank
got
you.
a plan?
yes, sounds good.
Yes.
that's fine.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to the governance committee.
All right, so we're addressing the canvassing policy again, or updates to it. I had a copy given to Bagia, so everyone hopefully got one in their package. I believe they did. And you've read through it. I don't want to read it word for word, but as we go through, but I'll address a few certain points. And then if you have any remaining questions, you're certainly welcome to ask those. We've had the board itself.
Excuse me,
had approved-
Eric.
Oh,
Eric,
yeah.
excuse me.
Yes.
Could we share screen so people?
Oh,
can
yeah,
see the-
absolutely. Sure.
I
I'll
think
bring
that
it up
would-
in just a second as we start looking at it. But the board itself had approved a new canvassing policy last May. What brought the need for changes on this time was that a complaint was filed with the state elections board on a particular item in the policy. Certain folks felt that it did not allow people to sign up for canvassing time far enough in advance in order to get volunteers together that could fill those times and serve as the actual collectors of signatures in the library. So we updated that, and then Chris Brown of the city solicitor's office asked if he could send a copy to the elections board of the updates so that they could comment before we did a final approval. And no problem there, we did that. The person at the state elections board had a few questions that came back to us. The time or the length of time ahead of for the time, and I can't even get my words out for that. The time that you have to apply for a time slot in advance was changed from 10 business days to 15 business days to make it a little bit longer. And the elections board did not have a problem with that extended time, but we'll come back to that in just a moment. The other questions that the elections board had, there are a couple of spots in the policy where she asked if it applied to only to inside canvassing, but what about outside canvassing? And so a couple of tweaks were made in the copy that you guys now have to specify inside only. And the reason for that is that the city solicitor long ago recommended that we not try to put any rules on outside or outdoor canvassing, because it's simply with the larger area, it's just very hard to try to come up with restrictions that pass First Amendment muster. So it's easier for us in the city to just not address that. So if people want to stand on the sidewalk and hand out a pamphlet, fine. You know, if they want to approach people for signatures outside, that's fine too. So our policy is just limited to indoor canvassing. The other, yes.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
What if somebody's on like the parking lot at the McAuliffe collecting signatures?
That again, the city solicitor was like, that's the sidewalk, you know, let's stay away from that if possible.
Well, okay, so anything outside.
Pretty much, yeah. And my personal feeling was that, you know, if somebody is out there and feels like they're getting too pushy, I was thinking, well, what happens these days is someone's going to be on social media saying, hey, these people are bothering me, and there's going to be some very quick feedback there. So it's probably better for us not to get involved in that.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. And then let's see, what the other couple of things were that we or that the elections board had were, what if there are open time slots after a slot in which someone is signed up to do canvassing? What happens with those? As it turns out, Lena said it had been library practice, which I was perfectly fine with, to let, if no one had taken a particular slot, to let the people who were there continue to canvass as long as that slot had not been signed up for. And we actually, in this new or the updated policy, we've actually incorporated that to let people stay if a particular slot has not been claimed. And then the last question they had was we refer to, or we have a statement in there about canvassing in the lobby of the main library must stop if there's a Cossin room program, because there's always been noise issues with that. And the person asked if we can make it clear how to check what the schedule is for Cossin room events. And we do address that in the sense that it doesn't specifically say here's how to check, but in the signing up for a time slot, those requests are directed to Bhagia, and Bhagia has been doing the check basically, and she will inform anyone who applies for a time slot to canvass if there is an event going on that either overlaps that or, you know, directly conflicts with it. So we have that covered as well. And now I did want to bring back one thing. So the Governance Committee met last Thursday. We did not have a quorum, so we took no vote, but we did decide to kind of throw this open to the board and see what the board thinks. And this had to do with with making reservations for the time slots on canvassing, and also how many slots there are. So as I said, we changed the reservation limit or time limit from 10 days. We made it so that you can request a time slot 15 business days out. There was some talk that maybe even that wasn't enough, and to make it like a month or 30 days or something like that. I don't have any particular objection to extending that if the board wants to do that. And the reason for the limit to begin with was to prevent like one group from sucking up like all the available times and then being able to freeze out other groups. But since we also have a limit on the number of time slots, the advanced reservation time doesn't seem to be that critical. So I'm fine if we want to extend that a bit more and just say like 30 days, if that suits the board. But before we make any decision on that, the other question that came up in the subcommittee was the number of time slots. So originally in last year's policy, we said you could sign up for two-hour time slots in what was considered sort of the prime time, like 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., because that was when the library was closing at that time on weeknights. Now it's 9 p.m. So with the return to normal hours, we had in the draft, we had extended or enlarged the number of slots to 3. So you could sign up for 3 two-hour time slots during those prime hours. And what the question that was raised in the subcommittee was, well, if you consider the hours of 5 to 9 to be prime time, if you will, because of traffic coming into the library, that's 16 hours a week. So Monday through Thursday, 5 to 9. And theoretically, 3 groups, if they all reserve 3 blocks, that would take up just about all of those 16 hours. Actually, they could really take all 16 hours. And it was admittedly, that's theoretical. We just have one group that I know of really that has been making use of this so far. But so the question was raised, should we actually cut back a little bit and make it 2 slots again? My feeling on that, and just to be clear, people or groups can sign up for other slots, during those non-prime hours. There are other slots available. But my feeling is that it's still a little bit experimental. We've really had one group using it. If it got to a point where it appeared that groups were colluding and trying to block out other people from using it, we could always change the policy. So that I'll just kind of throw open if you guys think we need to cut it back from 3 slots to 2. I'm okay with the 3 right now. I think that. Oh, actually, let me address one other thing that it was because it was something that was raised in the board. So about requesting a canvassing time, I think we originally wanted to put in a phone number there, and or was a phone number, and then there was a suggestion that people also be able to make reservations by email, which is a good one. So what the draft you have reflects now is it says to request a canvassing time, use the same contact information for requesting a meeting room time. And we give the URL on the library website where you go do that. Right now, what is on that page is a phone number, which I believe is Bhagia's phone number. So she gets that. And Lena told me that it can be edited so that it will also include an email address on that page. So and it'll obviously be an email address that Bhagia checks and regularly to see if any requests come in. So hopefully that will be sufficient for doing that. And
there's a question from Bill.
Oh yeah, sorry, Bill, go ahead.
No problem. I just have a couple extra points of information that would help us in this decision. Number 1 is back on the issue of 15 business days in advance. Business days are Monday through Friday. Therefore, 15 business days is actually 3 weeks. So it's I think a sufficient amount of time. And on the issue of number of slots that one can reserve during prime time, prime time is 5 to 9, Monday through Thursday. That's 16 hours a week at each library. That's a total of 32 hours a week. But theoretically, one person or one party or one group could reserve, right now it says 3 2-hour blocks at each library. So that would be 6 hours of the 16 at each library. And therefore 3 groups, one can take 6 at each library, group number 2 can take 6 at each library, and that only leaves 4 left for group number 3 or person number 3 to take 4 hours at each library. So theoretically, 3 people or groups could actually suck up all the primetime hours. And I'm worried about that. I think it should go back at least to 2, if not even further. But I think three 2-hour blocks is at each library is too much. I think it restricts the potential number of people utilizing the library premises. So I would definitely want to see that one drop down to 2.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Does anybody else want to comment on that point? Or any other points?
I just have a quick question.
Mhm.
Why don't we allow canvassing on Saturdays at the library?
Oh, it is allowed.
Oh, when you say, oh, okay, good.
Prime time was Monday through Thursday, 5 to 9. But that's not the only time, it's the prime time.
Yeah, Annabelle, just to be clear, so the canvassing can occur anytime the library is open. But what we're talking about here is just because the theoretical idea that not 5 to 9 p.m. on those 4 nights is sort of prime time, and that there's probably more traffic at that point.
Oh, okay.
Does anybody else have questions?
I just want, if I can, I just
Go ahead,
want to
Bob.
say that Eric and his committee has done a tremendous job revising the initial, from what we had at the very beginning. It's much more user-friendly. It's very important that these people that are collecting signatures, many of them are going to be city council people or state reps and so on. We want to be very friendly. We want to be helpful. And I think that comes through with the revisions you've made.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you,
this was a
Bob.
big job. We appreciate it. Bill?
Yes, Bob, you made me think there. In an election year when, say, half a dozen trustees are running, plus the other city offices, plus state offices, plus national offices for that matter, creating a system where theoretically only 3 groups could suck up all the primetime hours, that just doesn't seem fair to me. So I would definitely want to drop the 3 back to 2.
Okay.
In the interest of our own election challenges, yes. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion about these changes?
I move that we accept the changes from the governance committee.
Let me backtrack a moment. Before we accept the policy as a whole, perhaps we should consider whether or not we should drop the number of opportunities from 3 to 2, and then vote on the policy as a whole.
I'm more than willing to do that. I'll even make that motion that we amend the current draft to change it so that 2 2-hour slots are available during the so-called prime time, what we're referring to as prime time, Monday through Thursday between 5 and 9 p.m.
I'll second that.
Okay, so a motion has been made to amend the limitation to 2 2-hour primetime slots per candidate or group of candidates. Is there any discussion? Bill?
Yes.
Heather?
I have just a clarifying question, Ruth, if that's okay.
Please.
So I'm sorry I didn't think about this in the governance meeting that we had last week. It just occurred to me that if we reset the number of primetime slots somebody has to 2, and not all of the slots are filled, I'm curious. I mean, our policy at this point would say whoever was sitting there could take up the extra slot without having reserved it. Do we think that the slots will all fill, or do we think we're likely to have holes?
Well, at this time, we definitely have holes. And
Because
I
I
think,
do wonder,
oh, go
I don't
ahead.
want to overcomplicate things or make Baga's life horrible. So I apologize for proposing this, but I am wondering if there is sort of an escape hatch here that says, all right, well, everybody can reserve 2, but if the slots are still available same day, 24 hours before, like I'm wondering if there's a way for them to be intentionally reserved rather than left open or allowing for people just to slide into them by accident because they happen to be there. I'm wondering if we're going to get fairness concerns about I couldn't book it, but this other person, because they were sitting there, got an extra slot kind of thing.
Heather, I had the same thought since we last met as well. So there should be the same, I think, the same philosophy, which is that if there's an open slot, right now we've got the thing where if someone's at the table, they can stay. But you're right that certainly anybody should be able to go in if there are open slots by X amount of time before the election or whatever. That anybody can go in and fill it. I agree with you wholeheartedly with what you're saying.
Okay, we would need some language that would convey that.
So just to be clear, are you saying that essentially reservations should be accepted literally up till literally the beginning of the time slot? Because at the moment we do have a limitation that you can make the reservation basically the day before.
So I think the day before is fine. That's not, my concern is that if a slot is still open for tomorrow, right? So I'm sitting here on a Monday, there's a primetime slot open on a Tuesday, but I've already reserved my 2 primetime spots. I'm wondering whether I get to reserve a 3rd spot rather than leave it open if I'm only, for instance, 24 hours out or 1 business day out.
Well, I off the top of my head, I'd be saying no, because then you be exceeding your 2 primetime slots during the week.
Right. So my question, Eric, is if I had my 2 primetime slots and one of them was on Tuesday, tomorrow, preceding an open slot, and I just was lucky from dumb luck, I end up with 3 primetime slots by dumb luck. And I'm wondering if we're okay with that, or if we need to provide some other way of allowing people to claim those.
Got it. Well, I think mechanically it might be tough to put it on like the librarian in charge of the building, and or Bagia to be tracking those things like same day. That might be a little tougher beyond saying that, oh, if you're already at the table, yeah, sure, you can stay there because there was no reservation made yesterday. Then you might get into the issue of, someone they're sitting there from 5 to 7, say, someone comes in with a clipboard and a sign at 6:45 and say, hey, I want the next slot. Yeah, I don't know about, having, Baguio is probably gone at that time and trying to have, somebody behind the desk decide, well, you guys have to leave and yes, you can have the table. I think we may need to just keep the reservations as they are.
I do have one question that maybe Leonard can answer this. Do we know for a fact that 5 to 9 is a primetime slot? I mean, it seems to me when I'm in the library, it's pretty much the same number of patrons. I mean, there doesn't seem to be like one more prime time than another.
Yeah, I mean, it varies so widely sometimes, but it's this time when people are out of work. They might be stopping by to pick up books. They might be, on their way to, home and decide to swing by, or there might be a program, happening. So yeah, I think if I had to pick a primetime spot, I might land on that. But I just want to say real quick that I think Eric's last argument too is good, because logistically we can't always kind of manage that. you know, so you articulated it really well, Eric, I think. So that just putting that out there. I think Fagin might agree with that too.
And another suggestion is whatever we decide on tonight, let's try and see how it works.
Right.
Let's see how it works.
Yeah.
Because it's possible to change it before the next election. Eric is shuddering. It's so much work to change it, but.
Well, there's so much of it written now. I think any additional changes aren't going to take that much, but anyway.
Yeah, okay. So let's see, did we vote? We need to vote on whether to change the limitation to 2 2-hour blocks.
Yeah, I said yes, and then we got to Heather and she brought up her point. So I think we're actually on
For
Heather.
throwing the wrench in there, I'm happy to vote yes, Ruth.
Okay, proceeding, Isabella,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Annabelle,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
Okay, now let's vote. We need a motion on the new canvassing policy as a whole.
Well,
I move-
oh, go ahead.
I move that we accept the new canvassing policy as a whole.
I second.
Okay, Annabelle has moved, Nancy has seconded that we accept the canvassing policy as a whole. Leslie,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Annabelle,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Isabella,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Congratulations, Governance
Whew.
Committee.
A lot of
Well
work.
done.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Great
Yeah,
job, Eric.
yeah, that was good. Okay, that takes us to old business. Excuse me, unfinished business. Does anybody have any unfinished business? Does anybody have any new business? And I think Nancy, you
I
had something.
do. Yes, I do. Yes, I have an anecdote that was sent to me by the Homework Center, which I wanted you all to hear because it was just a interesting anecdote. I'm going to change names. This is written by a tutor who works with 2 students on Saturday morning. The 2 students are named.
Excuse me, Nancy,
Yes.
can you please speak into the microphone? It's hard to hear you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So these students meet with the tutor on Saturday mornings, and I've changed the names of the students. The woman's name is Bettina, and the boy's name is Jacob. The boy is 11 years old, and I'm not sure if it's a sister and brother, but here's the story. So Bettina is pregnant, and they were having a conversation with Jacob present. Somehow it came up that Jacob had not yet learned where babies come from, and Bettina is pregnant. So Jacob is 11 years old. He'll be 11 in July. So Bettina told me he's very curious and asks many questions, but she said she didn't know have the words to tell him where babies come from. He was very, very curious about it. So all she ever said was that she and Rafi hugged, and then the baby started to grow. So I told Bettina that it's past time for Jacob to be clued in, but she said she couldn't do it and asked if I could help. This is the tutor, meanwhile. At that point, while she and I were still on Zoom, I called the Framingham Library. They put me through to the children's room, and a very helpful guy named Dana got on the line. And he said that there were books that she could check out. She went soon afterwards with Jacob and they checked out 6 books for kids. As soon as they got home, Jacob said he wanted to read the books. Bettina wrote to me that they read 3 of them this afternoon, and he was reading the English aloud and then translating for her. She said he was very surprised to learn the facts and very happy to know the truth. He had questions which she found she could answer comfortably, and the whole experience was positive for both of them. So Bettina thanked me for being like a mother to her and helping her accomplish something that she couldn't do until now. But I really don't deserve much of the credit, said the tutor. That goes to the Framingham Library, Dana, who was the library person there, and the books themselves. So it was I think a terrific anecdote in terms of how the library is working along with the community. I was impressed by it. So the other thing I wanted to say is that there will be on, let me find the date, June 14th, there will be a workshop that the Homework Center is putting on, calling Getting Prepared for College, for parents with or without students, and students of course can attend. It's going to be at 6:30 in the costume room. And it says, bring your questions and hopes to this casual meeting and listen to Linda Parker, our volunteer specializing in college planning. She will address specific college steps and general strategies that parents or students can do this summer to make progress and strategies for the best outcomes. So the Homework Center is still buzzing along with new things and exciting things for kids and parents and families. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a memorable story. I
It's
will
a
not
terrific
forget
story.
that
It
one.
really is. Yeah, it's a terrific story. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, any other new business? So with that,
Just like an opportunity to thank, to congratulate Emily from the Bookmobile for her award she got from Pelham Community on her service she's done with the Bookmobile.
Yes.
So I'd just like to say
Yes.
congratulations from all of us, I'm sure. And
Yes.
we're proud of the work we're proud of the work she's doing.
Yes.
and wasn't there some news about a grant that just came out today?
Excuse me.
Lena, you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. And thanks. I'm so glad. It makes me so happy to share these with you, throughout between meetings. So thanks thanks for indulging me. But this was a mini grant from the Jane Goodall Institute that Kelly Cashman received, who is our makerspace librarian in the children's room. And she's doing great work in so many different ways. And one of the things that she's particularly interested in is in advancing green initiatives and working with community to find ways to grow things and bring gardening and learning opportunities to the community. So this grant will allow us to build in a pollinator garden, which we will do carefully and safely and thoughtfully. And Kelly's going to head all that up. So that's what it is.
Great.
So
Thank
Kelly
you.
Cashman.
Perfect.
Yep. Have the chicks hatched in the makerspace?
Oh my gosh, they have. And I was there I was beside myself because, my parents would be horrified. They were, my dad was raised on a farm and I was like, oh my gosh, it was like, so, but yeah, it was very dramatic. 3 of them hatched. They were fantastically healthy. Then they went off to live on this farm where it's a sustainable farm, and they will live out their little chicken lives, laying eggs and being happy. We have YouTube videos. I'll check to see when it's up. I'll send you all the link. I think that we may be editing that one
Please,
still.
please do. This is worth seeing. Okay. Well, thank you all. The next part of the meeting has to do with the Personnel Committee. So we'll say thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody, so much. Have a great night.
Great. Thank you,
you.
Lana.
Anna.